The ICONS project trust was mainly for improving human health and animal production through scientific innovation and public engagement. So the purpose was to build an evidence base that can be used for advocacy, for the control of the disease, and using a One Health approach in order to solve the problem of zoonosis in Nigeria. ICON started as a result of global concern of the impact of zoonotic diseases. And so 2 meetings were held in Geneva concerning that. There was an 2 international conferences were held in Geneva on these diseases. At the 3rd meeting, it was decided that an ICONS project be established in order to have a more positive approach to the disease control globally. And so we all know that all over the world there are zoonotic diseases, and there are a lot of them spreading all over the world. The main impact is on the poor. It's the poor that bears the burden mainly of these zoonotic diseases. Why are these diseases called neglected, or why are they neglected? They are neglected because of donor prioritization based on funding, mainly because most donors or funders do not think that these diseases are very important, so they pay more attention to other diseases. And there's also gross underreporting, which help to down the main impact of these diseases recognized worldwide. Again, the morbidity is not well recognized by some professional group. And so you see that the disease do not have main focus in attention, in research, and for control. Therefore, an integrated approach to the control of the disease was therefore required. And the integrated approach will include a One Health approach, which is holistic, and multidisciplinary approach consisting of various professionals from various professional background and scientists. And it also showed that using this approach is more cost-effective than taking one single disease at a time to control or approach. Now, let me just introduce to us briefly the ICONS project. ICONS was a large collaborative project funded by the European Commission under the Framework 7. So a big consortium of countries in Africa and in Europe was formed in 2009, and the project continued until 2014. In all, we had 21 partners, 8 of them in Africa and 13 of them in Europe. The aim was to map out these diseases, zoonotic diseases that we are talking about, to review their research activities, survey these diseases in the various countries that are affected, build up capacity for those who are participating on the program so that they can be equipped properly in mapping out control measures. We also were involved in empowering communities so that they can participate in disease control generally. So during meetings and engagement with communities, we met with community leaders and stakeholders, and they were part of the policy-making process in disease control. So we had, like I told us earlier, we had 8 partners, including Nigeria, Uganda, and the rest. in Africa. We had this project spread all over Africa, as you see on the map. We also have the 13 European partners involved on the project. Now, the Nigerian case study fell under the Work Package 5, which was mainly to address bacterial zoonosis. And they were to address brucellosis, bovine tuberculosis, and anthrax under the program for bacterial zoonosis. So our main objective was to, develop strategies on neglected bacterial zoonosis. Therefore, our main aim was to develop cost-effective disease control strategies for the neglected bacterial zoonosis, develop integrated disease control packages which can be used in the field for control of these diseases. So in our research team, we had veterinary doctors, medical doctors, lab scientists, economics, geographers, sociologists, and even GIS experts. And all this put together helped in facilitating the project in a One Health approach. Our main focus of this project in Nigeria was on brucellosis, which is an endemic disease affecting livestock in Nigeria. Unfortunately, the 90% of the estimated livestock population in Nigeria is managed by nomadic Fulanis who are accustomed to extensive system of production. That means they move from one place to another, looking for forages and grass to feed their animals. And this helps in spreading the zoonotic diseases. So government effort, therefore, to control the disease made effort to settle these Fulani cattle herders in a grazing reserve in part of northern Nigeria. It was at that grazing reserve that we chose as a main focus for our research so that there will be a trace back for us depending on the result that we obtain from the studies. So the study site was in the northern part of Nigeria, which is Guinea Savannah, in settled cattle herds. And there in the study site, we had 42,000 cattle, 11,000 sheep, and 5,000 goats. So these were the animals we actually worked on, and then the human population. This is a typical description of the site. And the study population was the Fulani cattle herds who are agro-pastoralists who manage the 90% of our total livestock population. Before we started the project, we had several public engagement with stakeholders, community leaders, the animal herders, and leaders, policymakers, so that they could help in facilitating the program. And so we went into the field to collect the samples, and we used the opportunity in surveying for brucellosis to look at other diseases like trypanosomiasis, hemoparasites, and tuberculosis. We also gather socioeconomic data from the field. This was the result we obtained during that study. And you can see that apart from brucellosis in both human, cattle, and small ruminants, we also obtained results of trypanosomiasis, bovine tuberculosis, and gastrointestinal parasites. We also obtained livestock economic losses using CAP and KII from the field. During the program, we were able to train in capacity building 4 PhD and 2 masters. And now, what were the lessons that we learned during this program. We discovered that using a One Health approach is more cost effective because you are approaching several diseases at a time. It also guarantees time-saving data collection, and it enables multiple data generation. We also discovered that during that program, sharing of information between professionals was made easy because veterinary doctors and medical doctors could talk to each other and share information in order to form policies for the control of those diseases. And it enabled us to have an effective traceback for disease control and in quantifying on the reporting of the diseases. There are some diseases that are not recognized by medical doctors, but because they were working with veterinarians, they were able to recognize some of these diseases in their clinic. When they go back, they could be able to recognize them, do tests for them, and make treatment. We also discovered that it ensured effective and efficient data collection because professionals were involved in the work. And even in the control of the disease, making policies for them require that professionals put their head together so that they can form a more formidable policy. And we discovered that we obtain maximum benefit from the project because we have all these professionals that were involved in the project. So these were the lessons that we learned on the ICONS project in Nigeria. So One Health approach to disease surveillance is a very critical way of getting zoonotic diseases control because of the benefits that we could obtain from them. And this shows us from the experiences we had on the Nigerian project. This was our research team in the field, from various fields. And these are our setting in the field. I want to thank you for listening to me at this time. Thank you.